Hello, I'm Warrant Officer First Class Thibeault. I will be teaching you how to properly wear your cadet field training uniform. So, firstly, your beret, for quick review, is from my other video, is going to be 2 fingers for most, or an inch above your eyebrows. Parallel, you don't want it going down whatsoever like I see from a lot of people doing, and you want it at the crown of your head, so where your hair spreads out. For most people, the very crown. It's a lot higher than you probably are used to wearing it in order to properly wear the beret. Centered over left eye. Now, you want your belt to be brass on brass and centered in the middle of the zipper like so. Brass on brass means this belt, this part here is touching this right here. Now, for the belt, you can adjust it by pulling up this part like that. This one's a bit old, so that is difficult to do, but this will now slide back and forth to be adjusted. It's to allow you to get proper brass on brass. Like that. And then finally, for the belt, you want to get yourself some peak or some brasso from Canadian Tire, and you want to make sure that you're consistently shining this brass to make sure that your belt is always shiny. So the next thing I'm going to go over is your tunic. So for your tunic, you want the collar to be pretty straightened out. So you want to maintain the collar in the same way that you would a dress uniform, more or less, but you want to iron the collar on much lower heat because the FTUs burn easily, and they have a do not iron on the tag, so you have to be very careful because the material is very susceptible to ironing. So when you're using an iron, have a damp cloth in between the FTUs and the iron, and make sure that you are using quite low heat. Medium at the very hottest, but that's not even necessary. For your pockets, you want to iron them as well, so that there's no indents. You'll usually only have to iron your pockets once, and then they're pretty good to go. You don't have to worry too much about ironing FTUs. Most of the time, to get out all the wrinkles, all you'll have to do is stick it in the dryer and then put it on a coat hanger, and then by the time it cools off, that'll get rid of all the wrinkles just fine. Now, you're going to do up all of the buttons except for the top one, and then once you get to the middle button, you're going to find these 2 strings. Tie these 2 strings and then make them somewhat tight, but not uncomfortably tight around you. And then tie a normal shoelace knot, and then, as you can see here, you want to pull the 2 loops, coil the 2 loops up in your finger like that, and then attach it to the button. Do the next buttons, and then from here you have a choice to make, and this is completely dependent on how the field training uniform fits your body. So you can either use these strings and attach them to this button here, the second from the top, or you can attach it to the pants button. Personally, I prefer to attach it to the pants button. It just fits me better when I do that, and it's the exact same thing as that center button. But you want to pull that as tight as it'll go, because around where you're actually tightening the string is a lot bigger than your hips, where it'll rest. So coil the string up, tie it up again, attach it to the button. Like so. The next thing to do is you want to blouse your pants into your boots or above your boots, depending on whether or not you're going into the field or not. So you want to get your combat boots, and if I was going into the field, what I would do is I would probably double layer socks, so I would have thin civilian socks, and then I would put the cadet socks over top. I found that's what works best for me to prevent the blisters, but whatever wrinkleless socks you could find to stop blistering works. So you tie it like so, just a normal shoelace knot. A lot of people will wrap it around the boot in order to get rid of excess slack, but that is technically incorrect, but that's usually not visible at all, so it's not too big of a deal. Now, you want to take your laces, and usually what I do is I'll fold them, and then I'll tuck the left lace, the left loop, into the left side of the boot, and then I'll tuck the right lace into the right side of the boot, and then feed it down. Feed it down all the way so that it's in there. So from here, you have two things to do. You can use these strings to blouse your pants, or you can use elastics. Or boot bands. So if you don't have elastics or boot bands, which I highly recommend getting, you're gonna use these strings. So tighten these strings. Not too tight that it's cutting off circulation, but tight enough. And then tuck the strings in. And then have your pants sitting above your boot, like so. Now, if you're going out in the field, then you're going to want to take the inner layer, which you'll see inside your FTU pants, and tuck them into your socks or tuck them into your boots. But if you're just on a regular training night, then keep that inner layer above the boot blouse. Don't bother tucking it into your boots. It's just going to make your standards worse and come untucked. So it's only practical when you're going into the field. Your other option is boot bands. So you can purchase boot bands from Cadet if there's one locally. You can use any old elastic, an alternative, if it doesn't cut off circulation, or you can order them online. So boot bands are simply these, and then they'll hook together to put around your ankle. You're going to attach them. You're going to feed your FTUs all the way down. Put your fingers underneath that boot band so that you feed your pants underneath, like so. And that is the desired effect. You want to make sure you even all that out. Pull it tight at the front and then stuff in excess fabric at the back, like so. Alright, so the next thing is that depending on the occasion and depending on the unit, you might be required to roll your sleeves. So sleeves should be tight like so, and they should be 2 inches or 4 fingers wide. How you do that is, what you're going to do is you are going to undo this button. This button will remain undone for the entire time. And then you're going to flip it, flush it so that everything is even, and then take it from the open side right here. Always flip first by grasping this side. Flip from here, and flip from here, and then even out the inside. Notice how I'm feeding my thumb in and my fingers in here, and I'm flushing out everything inside so it's even. Your first couple of rolls are the most important because that's whether or not there's going to be wrinkles at the end. And then again, make sure you're grabbing from this part, the open part of the roll first. When you flip it, open part of the roll, flip that first, and then from the open part of the roll, feed your fingers down into it. Again, open part of the roll, flip, feed your fingers in, pull it tight around your arm, and then you want it to be around the mid bicep. So I think I'll need one more roll here, and then feed your fingers in to make it tight, get out all the wrinkles, and then that right there is how to properly roll up your sleeves. It'll be 4 fingers in width, see that there, and you want both of them to be of equal height. So make sure you have all your pockets closed. FTUs are very susceptible to loose strings. Every time you wash them, they're going to get new loose strings. Here I even have one. Always keep a lighter in your FTU pockets so you can just burn those off, because you'll get them constantly and you'll fail countless inspections if someone's really looking for them. So you just got to be very vigilant with those loose strings. Other than that, that is all you need to know for maintaining your FTUs. Make sure you always have your proper issued elemental t-shirt underneath, and be sure to check out my beret forming video if you are unfamiliar with how to do that. And then in terms of what you need to keep in your FTUs, it's always good practice to keep your field notepad on you and anything else you may need. So I've been Warrant Officer First Class Thibeault, teaching you on how to maintain your FTUs. Thank you.